Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with my most auspicious video that I've ever done, and this is a best phone of 2019, best smartphone of 2019. So I have four contenders here. I have the LG G8, I have the iPhone 11 Pro, I have the Google Pixel 4 XL, and I have the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Now, I will talk about some other ones while we're in the course of this video and discussing some of the different things that are going on. But let's go ahead and take a look at these four phones. And at the end of this, I will give you my opinion on what I believe is the best smartphone of 2019. All right, so the first phone I have up is the LG G8. Now, I think that LG did a lot of really good things this year. Of course, they have the flagship specs. It's got 6 GB of RAM, which is a little on the low side, but it has the dedicated Google Assistant button. It has the Hand ID, which you can use to register your handprint. I'll show you that here in a minute. So it reads the blood vessels in your hand, and then you can do some motion gesture controls as well. But they really stepped up their game. It's got an AMOLED display for the very first time, and really, I think it's a good phone. It's very underrated, and they had lots of really good deals on it this year. I got a good deal on mine when I bought it, and you can pick them up on resale really well. So if you're looking for a value smartphone that has a lot of good things going for it, I think the LG G8 is highly underrated. But let's take a look at some of the features, and we'll talk about the LG G8. All right, so here we are with the LG G8. Now, I definitely think that this is the best phone that LG has ever made. It's fantastic, Snapdragon 855, 6 GB of RAM, the Google Assistant button. You've got your two cameras here on the back, the primary shooter and the wide angle. It has the most biometrics out of any of the phones. It has the fingerprint sensor. It has the Hand ID sensor for the recognition of the blood vessels in your hand. And then it still has facial recognition as well. So this has all the bells and whistles whenever it comes to unlocking your phone and also for security. Now, here's how the Hand ID works. I'll show you because this is unique to this phone. You scan your hand with the little sensor on the top, and then it registers your blood vessels in your hand as your own unique handprint. So that's pretty cool. And then you also have the motion controls as well. So you can do things like turn the volume up and down, go to the next track, turn off an alarm. And I really think it was very creative and very original of them to do this, although it is a little gimmicky, but it is cool. And then, of course, it has a 32-bit quad DAC with the headphone jack, which is the best you can get. All right, so after taking a look at some of the stuff for the LG G8, the Hand ID, the AMOLED display is beautiful. Of course, it only has the two cameras on it, but I don't want to say it's a bad phone. I think it's a great phone, and I really loved it. I wish I could have spent more time with it. I don't think it's the phone of the year, but I do think that it's probably the best phone that LG has ever made, and I'm really hoping that moving forward that they're going to do some more great things in 2020 and see what that brings for us as well, because there was some exciting stuff here that really was kind of rudimentary and could have been a little bit better, and I think that they're probably going to get that worked out moving forward. So let's move on to our next phone and talk about the iPhone 11 Pro. All right, so the iPhone 11 Pro is a very exciting device. Now, typically, a lot of people, if you're not an iPhone fan, or even if you are an iPhone fan, you don't think of them as exciting, but iPhone had some very fundamental issues for a long time. One of them is the battery life. The battery life has just been so bad. I'm talking terrible, especially with the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 10s. I had the 10s. Sucker would be dead in the middle of the afternoon, and it just wouldn't last. Well, they really doubled down, and they put an amazing battery in the iPhone 11 Pro, of course in the Pro Max, and in the 11 as well. So it lasts forever now. I mean, I can get 7 to 9 hours of screen on time. It will last me all day. I get home, and I'm still on like 60% battery. So I don't know what they did, the magic that went into it, but the new processor, the battery, everything, and then they have their new camera setup. And I want to say that the iPhone 11 probably has the most improved cameras for 2019. So I'm not going to say it's better than the Pixel. They're both really good in some ways. And of course, it has the wide lens, whereas the Pixel doesn't. But with the iPhone 11 Pro, the battery life is just untouchable outside of any other smartphone that I've tested or that I've had this year, especially considering at the performance level that it operates at. So here, let's take a look at the iPhone 11 Pro. All right, so here we are up close and personal with the iPhone 11 Pro. They also have the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro Max. So there's a lot of different price options with some different things you got going on. The 11 Pro has these 3 cameras set up on the back. It has kind of the retro look. It's very distinguishable and it looks really cool compared to some of the other ones with just the little flat glass on it. But they've got the wide angle lens, you've got the telephoto lens, and then the primary shooter, and they work best. This is definitely the most improved phone for me in 2019. I think that they really finally listened to what the user base was asking for and some of the general complaints. Of course, we're still stuck with the Lightning charging port. They haven't migrated to USB-C. We still, are limited on storage, so you can get the 64 gigabyte model, but there's or up to like 512, but they don't have expandable storage. So there's still some drawbacks, but this whole camera orientation thing that they did, the interface, the way that it seamlessly works out, it automatically detects things for night scene mode so you can take night pictures. And they really, really upped their game in the camera department. So, the Pixel 4 has a great camera, but it's really not that much improved over the Pixel 3 to me. But the iPhone 11 Pro added so many different features with the wide angle and also the telephoto. Everything works so well. And then, of course, you have the best keyboard in the industry as far as I'm concerned. And then the seamless integration between your computer, your tablet, and your watch. So there's a lot of really good things going for the iPhone. And then, of course, the new battery life, which is insane because you can get up to 7 to 9 hours of screen on time, which is just something that would have been unheard of with previous models. All right, so now that we took a look at the iPhone 11 Pro and some of the features, I do want to say I think this is the most improved smartphone of 2019. I could take or leave my iPhone XS, but the iPhone 11 Pro, totally love this phone. I love the new colors. I love the frosted glass finish, and the new camera setup is just top notch. And I think that it takes better low light photos than the Pixel does. So there is that as well. So lots of good things. A lot of people really think that the iPhone knocked it out of the park this year, and I do too. But I still don't think that one's necessarily the best phone of the year. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next phone, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. All right, so the Samsung Galaxy series phones are always fun. They always come out early in the year. The Note comes out later in the year. I had the Samsung Galaxy S10. I ended up giving that one to my wife, and I got the S10 Plus. They changed some things this year. Of course, I want to say that it's probably the S10 series is probably one of the most disappointing flagships of the year for me, just because there's so many things that I think they played it entirely too safe on. They weren't very creative. They have that under the screen fingerprint sensor, which in my opinion is terrible. It was plagued with issues. And then of course there's no true face scanning biometric in it. It's the same as any other cheap Android phone, and it's just kind of scans the image of your face, but it doesn't actually do a facial scan like with Face ID or with the facial recognition on the LG G8 or the one on the Google Pixel 4 XL. So biometrics, I think, tanked on the Note series and also the S10 series this year. Kind of blending these together because I don't have my S10 anymore. But I did use it for a while until I got my Note. I traded it in for that. So you, of course, get the stylus. The stylus is better than ever. You get the motion gestures, which I think are mostly gimmicky, but also it is nice because, of course, you can press the button for the shutter stuff, take pictures, start videos. There's a lot of good things going for it. It has power. It has expandable storage. They also ditched the headphone jack. So, some people can take that or leave that. But at the end of the day, that's something they held on to for a long time. So it's nice. The screen is beautiful. It has their One UI interface, which I think was a step up from the last iteration. So that's good. But of course, it's still a little behind when it comes to security features and updates like you get with the Google Pixel. Theirs are quick, and like you get with the iPhone. So the Galaxy Note 10 Plus or S10 series is not the best for security updates. It's not the best for software updates. It's not the best for biometrics. It's not the best for facial recognition. So those are some things that you really have to wrestle with. But as far as the cameras, I don't think that it's as good as low light for the iPhone or for the Pixel. So it doesn't really win in that department either. But it does have a zoom lens. It does have a wide angle lens, and it has the normal one. And it does take good pictures. And it probably has the most beautiful display of the year. And that's one thing Samsung really got going for. But let's take a closer look at the Galaxy Note 10 Plus here. All right, so the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus is probably the most versatile and feature-packed phone out of all of the phones in this video. Not only does it have the best processors, well, it doesn't have the 855 Plus, but when it was made, it had the best processor that was out. the Snapdragon 855. You get different configurations of RAM between 8 to 12 gigabytes, which is just crazy. You have different storage models that goes up to 512 gigabytes, but you can also throw in expandable storage. And then you have the S Pen. You have all three cameras, the primary, the wide angle, and the telephoto zoom. So there's just so much you can do. And if you're a content creator and you want to do everything with your phone, that's what I do with this one. It's everything. I use it for my pictures. I use it for my video. I use it for my editing. I use it for uploading and then setting everything up. This phone is so versatile and so powerful. You'll never be wanting for anything. And then it has the beautiful display. Now, they did get rid of the headphone jack. The camera little cutout thing in the front, a lot of people aren't crazy about that. I think it's better than the S10 Plus, but I'm still not overly crazy about this whole peep sight camera thing. And then the other issues I have come down to biometrics. Yeah, I mean, it's novel with the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor under the screen. It was terrible with the S10 and the S10 Plus. It did get better with the Note. It's not terrible now, but it had to get a long way to get there, and it's still not as good as a traditional fingerprint sensor. And then you have the facial recognition, which was a big drop off. It's not very accurate. It's terrible in lots of different angles or lighting situations, and it's just really not all that secure. It's just like any other cheap Android facial recognition technology that they have in there. It's not like the Face ID that you get where it actually scans your face, like with Face ID on the iPhone, or that you get on like the Pixel 4 XL. So it kind of lags behind in some of those departments, which you really kind of expect better for an $1,100 phone. But overall, it's a great device. All right, so having looked at some of the features, talked about the phone, a lot of people really are swinging for this one and want the Note 10 Plus to be the phone of the year. The expandable storage is amazing. I mean, you can already get up to 512 on it. You can get 512 storage. They got the new Star Wars model. They got the Galaxy Buds, which are integrated that you can use with it. They've also got the Galaxy Series Watch. So they're the best competition as far as accessory ecosphere goes out there for Apple. So, they do get a leg up in that area over some other Android devices, but I just don't think it's the best. I mean, it's great. I think it's the best phone that you can use if you want to do content creation. It's what I use. It's what I'm recording, right now. So for content creation, I think it's the best. For media consumption, it could very well be the best, and it does have the Dolby Atmos. So there's a lot of amazing things going for it. But when you talk about how much it cost, plus, just the stuff that's kind of dropped off this year, I'm hoping to see better things in 2020. But 2019, I don't think it's the best. I think maybe second or third best, but not the best. So now let's go ahead and talk about the OnePlus 7 Pro. All right, so talking about the OnePlus 7 Pro, unfortunately I don't have it here with me. I did have one earlier in the year, but it was either that or my S10 Plus, and the S10 Plus is just better at video. There's a lot of great things. Really, OnePlus surprised a lot of people this year. It had the pop-up camera. There's no notch. There's no cutout. There's no teardrop notch. There's no Face ID sensor. None of that stuff. That was really nice. You have the whole big, beautiful screen. Plus, it has 90 hertz on the display. The LG G8 doesn't have 90 hertz. The iPhone 11 series doesn't have 90 hertz. The Galaxy series doesn't have 90 hertz. And the Pixel does. But the OnePlus 7 Pro really, I think, was the most game-changing phone of this year. I don't think it's the best phone. I think it's the most game-changing. There's still some rudimentary things that they could do. It didn't have, IP68 dust and water resistance. It didn't have wireless charging. The pop-up camera, I think, is all right, but it wasn't the greatest in the world. And they could have done a little bit better with some of the video and the camera stuff, but it did take some good pictures. And I took some good pictures that I liked. I shared them. I got really good responses on social media, but the video is just not as good as the iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy S10 or Note 10 Plus, Note 10 series. So there's some things that they could polish. Of course, the Pro mode was really nice for the cameras. If you're really good with taking pictures and know how to use that stuff, you could really take some gorgeous photos. And it's a really good phone, and especially at the price point, you're talking, $300 to $500 less than some of these other devices. So I think it was the most game-changing, and I think it's really spurring some competition and what we're really going to expect out of flagships for 2020. And I think the OnePlus 8 is probably going to be amazing. But I don't think it's the best phone on the market this year, but I would probably say top three. And of course, all these phones are good. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the Google Pixel 4 XL. All right, so the Google Pixel 4 XL is an amazing phone. The Google Pixel 4 is an amazing phone, but it's also a trash phone. I had the Pixel 4. I love the size. I love everything it had going for it, except for it's got like a 2700 milliamp battery. If you turned on 90 hertz and you didn't have it on ambient display and all that stuff, it would be dead in 3 hours. Now, I know some people, if you turn on the ambient EQ, if you put on dark mode, if you turn the brightness down, if you turn off 90 hertz, sure, you can get more battery life out of it, but it's still bad. I mean, even if you turn all those things on, it's still bad. But why would you throttle your phone back on its hardware profile and its characteristics and not take advantage of all the cool things they put in there to sacrifice, to save some time on the battery? So the 4, I sent it back. I ended up going for the Pixel 4 XL and totally love it. It's great. The facial recognition is so good. It's so good. It's so fast. You don't have to swipe up to get to your home screen after that, like you do with the iPhone. Performance-wise, it's top notch. You get the Google 10, Android 10, so you get all that stuff. The software updates, the security updates, new stuff's going to roll out feature-wise throughout the year. The camera is just amazing. Now, the camera is not the most improved of 2019. I think the iPhone has the most improved camera 2019, and in most instances, I think the iPhone is better than the Pixel camera. But the digital zoom combined with the optical zoom on the camera lens is just uncanny on this thing. I've taken so many pictures with it, and it's beautiful. But it does have drawbacks. It doesn't have the 4K 60 frames per second recording on it. I don't know why they couldn't figure out that, but it is also still plagued by having the non-expandable storage. So there's two models. There's the 64 gig, there's 128 gig. And then of course with the iPhone you have 64, 128, 64, 256 and 512. But at least they have iCloud storage, and you have Google storage on with the Google devices for Pixel, but it's just not the same. And it's really frustrating not being able to put an SD card in there, because pretty much every other Android phone will allow you to do that. So, there are some drawbacks with the Pixel 4 and the 4 XL, but the Pixel 4 XL, the performance, it's so snappy, it's fun, it's amazing, it's refreshing. And I think that it's not only way improved from the Pixel 3, it doesn't have the screen display issues, it doesn't have the speaker issues, it doesn't have the lag issues so far. It has the best Android system on there. You're going to get the security updates and the OS updates for 3 years on it. So, and then the camera, and then it has astrophotography. I haven't been able to use the astrophotography because I live right next to basically Chemical Plant Row in Houston, and there's so much ambient light, you can normally only see like 2 stars anyway. There's so much light pollution, it's unusable. But there have been some amazing pictures that have been taken with it. So let's go ahead and dive in. We'll take a look at some of the cool stuff with the Pixel 4, and then we'll get back and talk about the phone that I think is the phone of the year. All right, so here we are with the Google Pixel 4 XL. So I started off with the Pixel 4, and then I realized that the battery life was complete and utter garbage. So if we were going to sit here and talk about phone of the year, the Pixel 4 wouldn't even be on the list just because the battery is so bad. But the Pixel 4 XL changes that. I'm getting 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, which I think is perfectly adequate, especially considering the amount of power that comes out of this thing. You've got the 2 cameras on it. You've got the facial recognition technology. So it's just like Face ID on your iPhone, except I think it's faster, and you don't have to swipe up to get to your home screen afterward. Now, it has the frosted glass back, at least on the orange and the white model. The black one still has a glossy finish on the back. Now, they did go ahead and update it. It's got Android 10. You, of course, get 3 years of software updates for the new operating system, which is something you don't get with a lot of other devices. Security updates are quick. And then you've got the little Soli radar in here for the hand gestures. So I'll demonstrate that here. So you can see, here we go, the alarm activates. You can just swipe your hand to dismiss it. And I think that's pretty cool. It does seem to work a little bit better than the Hand ID that they have on the LG G8. And then it also works for other things like changing songs back and forth, so you can skip tracks and stuff. And I think it's kind of in the rudimentary, kind of early development stage, and Google said they're going to come out with more features as it becomes more mature and develops in the future. But here's an illustration here. So go ahead and swipe, and you can change the song back, or you can go back forward again. So it's kind of neat. And then you still got the Google Assistant feature. You just squeeze on the side, which is nice. And then it has the 90 hertz display. So, iPhone didn't get this. The Galaxies didn't get this. OnePlus did. But of course, they have it here as well on the Pixel 4 and the 4 XL, and I think it's great. The smooth display, the 90 hertz technology, absolutely love it. And then on top of that, you also have the astrophotography feature. You get the continual updates to the camera, and then the camera just takes great pictures, especially with the telephoto zoom lens. I've been able to see and take some like mind-blowing pictures with this phone that have really impressed me a lot this year. All right, so the Pixel 4 XL is my phone of the year. I think it's the most improved. I think it's the most refined over last year's iteration. I still believe it has the most amazing camera. The astrophotography, if you can take pictures with it, is amazing. The zoom on it is uncanny. Nothing like I've ever seen in my life. And then the regular photos are so good. So if you ever wanted the Google phone, of course, people get it because of the camera. But of course, the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 2 still have good cameras. But the Pixel 3 camera was really amazing. They're the ones that came out with Night Shot. You still have Night Shot on here. Everybody else copied it. Everyone has it now. But at $899, you're still talking $100 cheaper than the introductory 11 Pro. It's cheaper than the Note 10 Plus, and it's just slightly more expensive than, like the LG G8, and it's a little bit more expensive than the OnePlus 7 Pro when it came out. But coming out at the end of the year, I think that it brings so much to the table, and it's so much more improved over the Pixel 3. It bumped up from 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM, and then you've got a larger battery. The battery on the Pixel 4 XL actually works really well. I get 5 to 6 hours screen on time, which is perfectly good for me. It takes amazing videos and photos, and I think that really the Android user experience is the best that you're going to get. Now, there are a lot of people that think that the Note 10 Plus is the best phone. You look at what MKBHD said with talking about the OnePlus 7 Pro being the best phone. And I think that they're all really good phones. I mean, we're talking the top 5 phones that you could possibly get on the market right now in the United States. You can't go wrong with any of them. But I think each one of them has too many asterisks next to it. Now, if we were talking Pixel 4, I'd say no. Pixel 4 is not the best phone. The Pixel 4 XL is the best phone, followed by the iPhone 11, and then I think after that, the OnePlus 7 Pro, and then after that, I think the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So some people are going to have issues with what I'm saying here because everybody loves those phones, and all those phones are the number one in lots of other people's metrics. But I think that with what Google has brought to the table, what they have on the software side, what they have on the feature side, what they have as far as their ability to continue updating the phone and what it brings to the table in 2019, I think that the Pixel 4 XL is the best phone, and it's the phone to beat. Now, very slim margins here. I mean, you're talking just a couple points away, stratification. I would say that the Pixel 4 is ahead of the iPhone 11 Pro or the OnePlus 7 Pro, or even the Samsung Galaxy. If you tweaked a couple things in any of those categories, it could easily be the number one. So the competition is closer than it has ever been, I think. In 2020, I think it's even going to get more narrow. Now, there are other things like 5G that people want to talk about. There is no iPhone 5G model. There is no Pixel 4G model. There's no LG G8. But of course, the LG V50 was one of the first that had 5G, and also OnePlus has a 5G phone and Samsung has 5G phones. So if you're looking in the 5G arena, you're still going to stick with those phones. We'll see what 2020 has for us, but I think that the Pixel wins by the slimmest of margins. Like by a hair, it scoots across the finish line and takes the cake for me. So overall, that's my thoughts on the best phone of the year. The other ones have a lot of great, compelling things going for them, and I could argue any day of the week why you should buy one of them if you're interested. So that's all I got on this video. I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments. There's going to be feedback on Twitter or wherever else. Love to engage with you guys in some content discussion on what you think, why or why not, your phone may be the best. But this is what I think, and yeah. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll get back with you. As always, thanks for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the little notification bell so you get notifications for the latest and greatest, because I'm always making new content. I appreciate you being here, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.